let's get into this awesome recharging cards video.
Cryptocurrency is the highest appreciating asset class ever, and yet tons and tons and tons of people get shaken out. Maybe shaking people out is good for price. So let's analyze it. If you've got a guy that's going to sell no matter what, if you get that guy to sell early, he's going to impact the price less because his claim is worth less. So the guy that took out his 2 marbles, if he had decided to exit his position when the value of marbles was 4-to-1, he 4x'd his money. His 1 marble equity into the jar became worth 4. When he pulled out his 4 marbles, everyone that was left, there'd be 9 people, there would only be 6 marbles left, which means they, all right, so now they've got less than 1 marble each, right? I mean, let's say he pulls out, you get the idea. So if you have weak hands, if your mission is to create something that is the highest appreciating asset that has ever existed in man, in the history of man, then being a cryptocurrency helps a ton, because this is already the asset class that has already done that, and it's done it multiple times. It's not just been one cryptocurrency. There have been numerous cryptocurrencies that have showed multiple thousands of % return in 2 years, 3 years. That's unheard of in any other industry anywhere. So you're in the right industry for those type of returns. You're also in the industry that goes down 85 or 95% and then back up again more than once. It's like very interesting in that way. So let's talk about that weak hand guy. Mr. Weak Hand that was going to sell his position no matter what. He could either sell when the number of marbles he's going to get is 2, or he could sell when the number of marbles he's going to get was 10, let's say.
This is a good example of what Ethereum is going through right now. If you look at the ETH BTC chart, it just keeps making lower lows. Similar to the Hex chart, it does a pump and then it kind of comes back down again. We're really aggravated because we're holding long term. However, this gives the people who are weak hands, or the people that are going to sell, a chance to get out at as low as possible. So while it's frustrating that the price hasn't like 100x yet, spending time down at the lows and dragging it out is giving opportunity for the people to sell at a loss, for the people to sell out at break even at lows.
Well, if this guy pulls out his 10 marbles, he gets to take huge profit, and everyone else on paper is bankrupt. There's no marbles left. Now, this example is a little misleading because, how did the price of marbles get to 10? Well, a lot of other people would have had to have put marbles in, but I don't want to get into those intricacies. I just want to show you that if you can get weak hands shaken out and lose their claims on those big gains in the future, you leave those big gains in the future for a smaller pool of people. It amplifies their returns. So I bought Bitcoin when it was $30. Went down to $2. Flash crashed down to a penny on Mt. Gox, but they rolled trades back. So, and by the way, depending on what exchange you trade on, crypto has flash crashed to a penny, in different places since then. Sometimes they don't roll the trades back. Sometimes they do. So, but global price was about $2 from 30. I held. Bitcoin went up to $1,300. Dropped down to 266. I held. Bitcoin up to 20,000. Right? Dropped down to 3,000. You see a pattern here.
This is a really interesting ecosystem because all of us Hexicans, we listen to him do these streams live. We're educated. We understand. So it's going to take, it seems like it takes a lot more pain and suffering to shake out the weak hands than the average person that is, just jumping into a pump.fun, Solana, that has its 2-day pump and then it's down 90% for the next year, right? So it sucks. But it even sucks more for the hex price because it is a superior product, and people keep selling.
You have preferred to have been shaken out at some point. Not really. Your only hope as a person that gets shaken out is that you're able to buy lower. And usually, a low is made and you catch it. And if you want to try and catch it, you've got to leave money on an exchange with huge counterparty and hope that you catch, if it ever gets there, before the exchange loses all your money, which is the opposite of crypto. Crypto is designed to get rid of those counterparties, not create new ones, particularly crappier ones. So in Hex, we have a way for people to profit from the weak hands. When a weak hand gets shaken out and he emergency end stakes his position, he pays a pretty large penalty. So right now, if you go to hex.vision and you click the wall of shame, let's take a look at it here.
He's talking about emergency end stakes. Hex.vision is down.
So if you get a hex.vision
There's other
and you
sites
click the
now.
wall of shame, you're going to see that people have paid about $250 million in penalties in Hex. The stakers benefit from that. So if you look at the returns that stakers have received,
this video
and I
aired,
tweeted this.
a lot more
I tweeted this out
emergency end
recently.
stakes have happened.
I'll go check it now. I think it's on twitter.com/hexcrypto. Hexcrypto. Yeah. So
Oh, that's better.
the stakers were making daily, the total class of stakers was making daily 9 million, 9 million, 9 million, 10 million, 10 million, 12 million. And then, boom, it jumps in there. And then back to 11. And then a 41 million day jumps in there. And then back to 17. And then a 22 million day. So to me, that the return on day 73 that the staker class would have made in profit for being staked, it would have been about 11.5 million hex, but instead they made 41 million. So on that day that all those people got shaken out and emergency end staked, they tripled the profit for the stakers. That's pretty cool. What other currency, for instance, Bitcoin, Ethereum, if a lot of people get shaken out of their positions and dump, do you as a holder get any benefit from that? Nope, you don't. You don't get anything. Wasn't that cool? So Hex is interesting in that it is the only cryptocurrency that I know of where the believers, the holders, the stakers, just the stakers really. There's a couple classes that profit from emergency end stakes and late end stakes. Stakers being one of them. The stakers tripled their income on day 73 because people were getting shaken out of their positions. That's pretty good, you know, like.
And so many people ended
triple your
stakes
income
that
for the same work. You didn't have to do any work.
would have gone to
You
them.
just got paid triple.
Got
What other currency
sent
pays
to
you when there's FUD?
more got distributed to
Bitcoin
less
doesn't
people.
there's FUD. Ethereum doesn't pay you
Same
when there's
amount
FUD.
got distributed to
I don't know
less
of a
amount of
single
people.
other
So each person
cryptocurrency
got
that pays you when
higher
there's
amount.
FUD. It's pretty neat.
If I'm talking over
I guess
him, not that I'm trying to, but can
Maybe if
you
you're
still
a
hear
miner and
him?
people shut off their other miners, maybe you'd make more.
It's inevitable if
So I
I
guess
try to
that
if I try to
quality
speak
of being paid more
when I think there's
when
a
there's
silent
FUD,
space.
it could exist in things that are.
Well, we'll try it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. So what I do know is that on day 73, the stakers
I am
got
live
paid
right now.
at least 3 times as much,
If I stay live for a long
as they
time,
otherwise
is
would
it
have
gonna
for being staked,
eventually
which is really neat.
pick up
What
people?
also is interesting about that is
Like
it
someone
has nothing to
like
do with big payday.
somehow finds me,
So the big payday comes on day 353, and we're on
And I
day,
can
what, 78 now or something?
possibly bring in some subscribers.
You know, you had to be staked
I'm the only one
during
watching this
that
right
day
now, but if
when
somebody
these
else,
people emergency unstaked to
if
receive
a real
those
person
benefits.
actually finds it,
And there's another hidden benefit from this. Shame
I'm
goes
listening
up.
to too many things at once.
Share price
Sorry.
is how many hex
I'm
you
new to
have
this
to
streaming
have
thing, so put up
to get a
with
share.
this immaturness.
And shares are how you divide up the profits from being staked.
Listen.
This is set by the highest ROI the system has ever seen. Well, when these people got shaken out and tripled the profit of day 73, more than tripled it, now if anyone that had a stake during that day end stakes, and a lot of people are ending stakes every day, that's now going to jump up the profit for those guys, which is going to jump up the share price, which is going to make it so that later people can't get as many shares because the price is higher now, because shares become more rare than hex, because shares cost multiple hex. So this concept of shaking people out, shaking the weak hands out, and getting them to sell their earlier instead of later so that they can impact the price less, it has these other side effects for the staker class of increased profit and increased share price, which both benefit stakers. It's pretty cool. So I think it's fun to look at hex because it had an 8x pump in 1 month, and then now I think it's down maybe 60% or something versus ETH. I think it went up like to 250 or 250 Gwei, and then now I think it's like 110 or 111. Take a look.
Wow, how times have changed. Right now, Gwei is under 1.
Going to hexdex.win.
I did a little thing or two when the Gwei was 0.5, 0.6, just in
It's
the
like
last 24 hours. And today is March
Gwei,
2025.
I think. So
Gwei is extremely low, and I think we have Pulse Chain to thank for that.
It's still up from its bottom, 5x versus USD, 4x versus BTC, and 3x versus ETH, 2.54x. That's quite good. And this is with apparently no ads. Haven't really seen much. A lot of room to grow. And
sucks how my
video
video quality has more frames per second.
So someone, I just tweeted today that there was
the main focus of this
a tool built to put all of your stakes on a calendar, which is pretty neat. So you don't forget when they are. It'll turn it into an ICS file, and you can put that in Google.
There's all kinds of cool websites, and
so like
it's 5 years since this video, maybe 4 years.
We also have someone that built out like another tool that you can use as a watch.
More like, yeah,
I don't want to tweet a link to it yet because he's like improving it a little bit over the next couple of days.
5 years from
and you'll be able to set
your
addresses and other people's addresses in there and see.
4 months.
I think what their values are and when their stakes are expiring, and see it all in a chart and things like that.
Yeah, there's some really cool sites. I could pull one up now. But if I do that, the audio will stop. I don't think Restream
We've been looking
can...
at the margin trading.
Every time Richard Art talks, I got to listen.
So no profit from people
that
get shaken out of their hands. People often get
smart guy
shaken out of a position because they think the price is going to go down and that they'll be able to lower.
Turn off all other distractions.
Well, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Market timing is very hard. I mean, who could have predicted the 8x in 1 month? I couldn't have. I don't think anyone else could have. And will you be able to predict the next one? I don't think anyone can. So
he's bragging about 8x, but it did 10,000x.
If another way that you can profit from weak hands is they think that the price is going to go down, they sell their position, but then their position as well. They open up a new position with margin where they borrow coins, hoping the price goes down so that they can rebuy lower and pay back their loan. Historically, crypto tends to go up more than it goes down, and the math is against them. And I don't mind telling you guys this because they're too stupid to listen anyway. They just won't listen. I've been talking about the dangers of shorting for a long time. I'm going to do it again here. And if Hex becomes and margin tradable and shortable, I guarantee you that a lot of people will short it and get wrecked. I know what happens to a wrecked short. So a wrecked short is someone that put up collateral. Could have been Hex collateral, could have been Bitcoin collateral, could have been Ethereum. That's not that important what collateral they put up. So they put up something of value, collateral, to open that position to short the Hex, let's say. Now, how far can Hex go down? Well, we saw this. We saw how far Hex could go down in the BTC pair. It turns out you can't actually zero. It's impossible. You can only go down to the minimum number that the exchange will trade at. And the minimum number on the exchange that Hex trades versus Bitcoin at, which is bidesk.com, BIDESK, the cells wiped out the bid size. This was a while ago, right? We're up 4x over Bitcoin now.
When Hex launched,
so
it wasn't really on any central exchanges, but there were some listings from some very small central exchanges.
Hex cells wiped out the bid side. So the bids that were 1 Satoshi got wiped out. And then cells occupied the 1 Satoshi level. And then there was no bids, but just cells. And there were cells from, 1 Satoshi and up. And so the price could never actually trade at 0 or any number below 1 sat because it's not possible. You can't place lower bids on that exchange, and you can't execute trades where there's
people were
no
selling
bids,
at a low.
right? So you could either market buy
couldn't go
1
any lower
sat or just not buy. That was the only option.
Lower
so,
than
crypto doesn't in general go down to 0
sats.
And the example that I gave you, I don't think it could really go up to 0 on any exchange unless you could put a limit order at 0. And then you'd be curious why the exchange would allow that. So
sell for nothing. Yeah.
Now, how high can a crypto go?
You could give it for free.
I give this example of Bitcoin. If you shorted Bitcoin at $20,000 and it went down to 0 magically, you would make $20,000 on every $20,000 you put in with 1x margin, right? So you put in 20 grand to sell short 20 grand of Bitcoin, and then you closed your position when Bitcoin went to 0. You made 20 grand on your 20 grand. You doubled your money. Now, what if it goes down to 0?
Very unlikely.
Particularly because of what I just explained. Now, what if you instead bought it, not 0, but at $1? Not even a penny, not 10 cents. You bought Bitcoin at $1. And you put in $20,000. You risked $20,000, 20,000, right? The top got shorted with 20 grand. You put in 20 grand, shorted 1 Bitcoin, wrote it down to 0, made 20 grand, double his money. Okay, now let's take that same 20 grand. Let's go long with it instead. How many contracts can we open up with $20,000 of collateral when Bitcoin costs $1? Using just 1x margin, you could open up 20,000 Bitcoin contracts. Okay, then the price goes up to 20,000 per Bitcoin. What's your profit? 20,000 times 20,000. So the guy that shorted made 20,000. The guy that long made 20,000 20,000s. So being short's mostly retarded, particularly in crypto. And you see this in the legacy markets as well. People that short only, they're just deceased. They're all dead. They're not, there's none left. Even, the long, they keep printing money, the math on their side, the shorts get destroyed. So
this is a great macro understanding of markets. Like, we're talking about exponential movements. Like, the math is just not the same for going down than it is for going up. Like, the fact that there is an infinite potential for growth, but there's only a finite potential for going down. Like, you can get to a place where you just cannot go any further.
Love there to be a way for people to short Hex. Because when a short shorts and gets wrecked and the position moves against him, guess what actually happens? He becomes a buyer to cover his position. And guess where he covers at? Higher than where he started. So if you want to turn haters into buyers, give them the opportunity to short your thing. Unless your thing always just goes down in price magically and it sucks. In that case, the shorters might win. But in general, in crypto, where things can go up 5 and 10x in short time, you only need to go up 1x to totally liquidate all shorts that were 1x cross margins. And the people that are 5x margined, you only need to go up 20% to liquidate them all. And they become buyers, which is useful in a spot traded market. When it's a derivative that's cash settled and not coin settled, you don't get that same buy pressure where they have to cover their position by buying real coins. So I would much rather see spot trading and spot collateral and spot settlement of margin trading and shorting of Hex instead of derivative crap where the exchange gets rich and it's a very little benefit to the actual currency. So I like peer-to-peer. I like trustless. Screw centralized exchanges if you can.
Yeah, and Hex is mostly traded on decentralized exchanges like PulseX, 9-inch, 9mm. Actually, I should mention the aggregators, which are Pateus.io and also Tetra. Omnis Tetra.
Can avoid them. That's why I've got hexdex.win. You can't pause it. You can't shut it off. It's audited. It's trustless. It's fast. There's no sign up. There's no ML. There's no KYC. It's awesome. It's amazing. So when you see that, go to hexdex. That's hexdex.win and check it out. You can get USDC on Coinbase for no fee because they want to promote their stablecoin. You can turn fiat to USDC on Coinbase, no fee. Send the USDC to hexdex.win, transform it into Hex directly. All right, so shaking out weak hands.
Desktop. Oh.
Hex stakers profit Hex from weak hands getting shaken out.
Hexdex.win.
They profit from increased share price from increased profit from weak hands getting shaken out. For people that haven't gone all in yet, it gives them an opportunity to either buy lower, and if they had bought higher, it brings their average so that their entry is lower, or it gives you an opportunity to make up for something you missed.